delighted to be here. As you know, I have a presentation partner. My job for the first couple minutes of your time is to tell you a little bit of a story. Hopefully you'll find this story compelling and that our research translational and to pick up on Don's word, care for the patient. After all, it's not just about research, it's really about looking after patients. I represent the Department of Otolaryngology at Sunnybrook Hospital, and we have a cochlear implant program, and the program is well represented here tonight. Lendra Friesen is the Director of Cochlear Implant Research, who is going to talk about the particulars of this particular project. We look after people with hearing loss, and some with very dire hearing problems, enough so that they would require a cochlear implant. You heard Lorna talk about a cochlear implant. And this is a device for people who are severely to profoundly hearing impaired. They're basically stone deaf, a lot of them. And we make them hear again. The technology has improved over the last 20 years and is arguably the most sophisticated and significant implantable device in the human body that's commercially available. So we've done very well over the years in terms of speech understanding in the context of a quiet, like right now, in a quiet environment. But our patients will tell you that they have two major challenges. One is that they have terrible problems in noise, so their performance would deteriorate in noise. And also they would have terrible problem with music. A lot of them just cannot perceive music. They don't have perceptual accuracy. They don't enjoy music. They don't listen to music. So that's the premise, and we figure that there's probably the same electrophysiologic reasons or limitations of a dysfunctional inner ear to begin with, and an implant that cannot deliver the fine structures that's needed to perceive music accurately. So that is the problem. And yet we do have, however, a small cadre of patients who can perceive music fairly accurately, who play a musical instrument, who can sing, and who enjoy music very much. So this is the dilemma I brought to Lee about 5-6 years ago in this building. He had an office then upstairs. And we chatted about this. I tried to bait him into getting involved in this research, but I didn't really need to do that. He jumped right in. He pretty much took over our department. Lee is, as you know, a Renaissance man. He's involved in every aspect of everything, and also quite a keen business mind as well. He brought with him just a wealth of musical education knowledge. His previous work at Bloorview was very, very important to our project. And he brought with him enthusiasm that I just could not believe. So within a short time, he developed a lot of things. First, he wanted to understand the subject better. So he brought in all the high performers who could understand music and study them, ask them questions, did a qualitative study. And this is not a research tool that we really understand in medicine, but he used that to find common threads, common themes, which he could build on. He then went on to develop a software, which he owns the patent, and this is called Music Ear. And this is a diagnostic tool where we're able to do a music perception test, just like a hearing test or a balance test, to evaluate one's musical performance for those who are normal hearing, musicians, perhaps some of you in the audience participated in this project, and also people with hearing impairment. So that was the next step, and in fact, this research was conducted by one of our trainees who won a National Research Prize as a result of this work. Industry took notice, and it's important. I was speaking to one of the presenters earlier about the industry's involvement in medicine, in your faculty as well. I think it is critical, if you design it properly, to have their support, and they recently gave us $140,000 to allow us to do this work going forward, to be able to develop a rehabilitation tool. So Lee is able to expand on this software to become a rehabilitation tool that we think is very important in the early phase of rehabilitation to allow patients to expand their repertoire, and perhaps this is going to have a significant impact on their speech ability, particularly in noise. And we figured that, given our blue sky vision, that music and tonal languages have a lot of similarities, and there's going to be some cultural modification to perhaps the software and to allow us to apply it to people in other jurisdictions who represent a very large segment of the deaf population. Tinnitus is the next big topic. A lot of tinnitus sufferers, myself included, perhaps some of you in the audience have severe tinnitus. There are sufficient understanding out there that we need to suppress it, perhaps using other types of noise, or perhaps using music. I think there is some conceptually the idea that we can match music to the tinnitus, and this is something that we're probably going to work on in the future. I'd like to leave you with an excerpt. I hope you're not counting time on this because it's all nice things about Julie. So. You know, hearing loss is a hidden disability. A lot of people have hearing loss. We take it for granted, especially the musicians in the audience. I'm sure you take your hearing for granted. A lot of us patients have very compelling stories to tell, as compelling perhaps as this one, but this is probably the most famous. I'll read it to you. For the past 6 years, I've been afflicted with an incurable complaint. This is a letter Beethoven wrote to his brothers in 1802. He said that this problem was made worse by incompetent doctors. My hearing is worse. I must live like an outcast. I'm overcome by a burning anxiety, a fear that I'm running the risk of letting people notice my condition. How humiliated I felt when somebody standing beside me heard the sound of a flute in the distance and I heard nothing. When I'm dead, request on my behalf Professor Schmidt to describe my disease and attach this written document to his records so that after my death, the world and I may be reconciled. So I would say Beethoven would be very supportive of your research, Lee. So thank you very much.